Hey guys, it's been a while, again. I'm gonna try to make these come out more consistently, hopefully. I need to make more videos, dude. Anyways, so replayability is a pretty important aspect of games, but it gets overlooked a lot. So how do you make a game replayable? New Game Plus is probably the simplest tactic to get a player to replay a game. It's a pretty wide range, but generally it's when you're able to restart the game, but with all or most of your endgame abilities and gear and stuff. For example, in Elden Ring, when you hit New Game Plus, your current character gets saved, but the rest of the world gets completely reset. And it's exactly the same, not exactly, but it's pretty much the same in Spider-Man PS4, Prey, and like every game on this list. As I mentioned before, New Game Plus is pretty much the bare minimum for replayability. It's simple, but it feels nice to be able to go back to the baby starting areas and just completely destroy every enemy or obstacle, anything that gets in your way. I think Minecraft is the prime example of a game that gets consistent updates. Everyone knows that feeling when a new Minecraft update drops and the friend group decides to make a server and play for like 2 weeks until the whole thing either falls apart catastrophically or people just get bored. Battle Passes also fall under this category, and Fortnite did that thing a bit ago where they brought back the original map to pull people in for nostalgia. Releasing consistent free updates is a great way to keep players interested in your game. This was pretty much the main focus of my last video, but tech and other forms of high-skill gameplay let people keep playing a game when the only thing that changes is their skill. This one's interesting because a lot of the time it's not really up to the devs, it's up to the player base. Developers can try to implement high-level stuff, but whether or not any of it gets picked up depends on the people playing the game. This one's especially useful in things like competitive games, fighting games, and basically just any game that doesn't necessarily have an end. This one kind of ties into having a high skill ceiling, but personally I never really cared when games did this. Even when I was playing like Sonic Colors on my Wii as a kid, I never really felt much gratification from getting an S rank on a level. I think this tactic only really works if the player already really likes the game, because as I mentioned in the last section, the only thing that changes is the player's skill level. For example, I've P-ranked every level in Ultra Kill because I really like Ultra Kill. Multiple endings and paths is probably my favorite one of these, but as with all of them, there's definitely a wrong way to do it. For example, Fire Emblem Three Houses has 4 paths, 4 endings. I don't know how the DLC gets counted, I don't know, but it basically has like 4 paths and 4 endings. So that's a good amount. However, the entire first half of the game is pretty much exactly the same every time, which is why I only played through 2 routes. The issue with multiple endings is that in order for someone to want to see every ending, there usually has to be some other incentive to play the game again, aside from just the last third of the game happening from a different perspective. If there's no incentive to replay the game other than the different endings, then people are either just going to reload a save or watch a YouTube video of the other endings. I also mentioned Prey back in the New Game Plus section, but it also has multiple endings. Technically 3, but not really. Spoiler warning for this one because I like this game a lot, so I'm going to be talking about it a lot. Basically, aliens take over your research station, space station thing, and kill pretty much everyone, and your 3 ending choices are either blow up the space station and destroy all of your research, make a device that kills all the aliens but saves all the research, or take an escape pod and just get the hell out of there, which you can kind of do at any time but just sort of ends the game early. But the big twist once you get one of these endings is that the whole thing was actually a simulation in your mind, and you were a human-alien hybrid, and the whole simulation was done to determine whether or not you have empathy, and your choices to help or harm the other survivors throughout your playthrough are what determine your actual ending, and that is how you do the "it was all a dream" plot twist. Anyways, that's too much about Prey in this video, and there's going to be even more in my next video about being alone in games, so be sure to subscribe if you want to hear me info dump even more about my biggest middle school hyperfixation. Okay, back to the actual topic of this video. So, Sandbox Games always use these buzzwords like procedural generation and infinite worlds and infinite possibilities, and like, yeah, but not really. The world you play in may be infinite and different every playthrough, but most of the time that doesn't have much of an impact on gameplay. Like I mentioned earlier, Minecraft. Most people don't replay Minecraft because of the random generation. They replay it because like twice a year a new update comes out. Obviously, not all survival games are randomly generated, so survival games in general typically work on the idea that you could hypothetically play the game forever without it ending, but still, the gameplay never really changes past a certain point. When talking about replayability, roguelikes are kind of weird in the sense that the whole game relies on replayability, which is cool, and researching this sent me down a long-ass rabbit hole about where the term roguelike comes from. Predictably, it comes from an old-ass ASCII game called Rogue, which had permadeath, procedurally generated dungeon crawling, and turn-based combat. Okay, I'm not going to use that as a basis for what a roguelike game is, even though that's literally where the name came from. The genre's evolved past that, okay? This game came out like 50 years ago. Whatever. A roguelike game is, at its core, a game that the whole point is to play it more than once, like a lot of times. So that's an option, make a roguelike game. That's option 7, whatever. In conclusion, I think the main thing that makes a game replayable is pretty simple. Just have it be a different, unique, cool experience every time you play. And the best way to do that is by combining the tactics I've described above, like how Prey has multiple endings and a new game plus, or how Minecraft is randomly generated survival and gets consistent free updates and has high speedrunning potential. And if you really like a game, it doesn't matter how replayable it is. I asked 2 of my friends why they've played Resident Evil 4 so many times, and one of them said it's because it's short and has a lot of unlockables for future playthroughs. And then when I asked him why he continues to play it so much, even though he's already unlocked everything, he ignored me and started talking about Devil May Cry's ranking system. And my other friend said they play it so much because they want to feed Leon dog treats. So I think it's safe to say that the real answer for both of them is just that they really like the game. And really liking a game is enough motivation to replay it. So that's it. If there's another cool tactic for replayability that I didn't mention, please tell me about it in the comments, and hopefully I will see you in the next video, which will hopefully come out in like 2 weeks. I really want to keep on a schedule, but I am lazy.